everybody. Welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I am the founder of Forward Partners. I am joined by my partner in podcasting, Emily Gray Steele. Emily, what are we talking about today?
Today we have a quote from you, a Chad original.
All right.
Lead yourself well because your team is desperate for you to lead them well.
Lead yourself well because your team is desperate for you to lead them well. This actually came out of something I was writing. There's a quote by a good friend of ours, Publilius Cyru. I guarantee I'm pronouncing that wrong. Please don't write us. Please don't contact us. But he said this quote, "Anyone can hold the helm when the sea is calm." And I was writing about this idea that as a leader, like we are signing up for the storm. Mm-hmm. We are signing up for these never-ending storms, these never-ending challenges. And so ultimately at the center of that is, how are we investing in ourselves? Are we showing up as healthy to guide that ship? Because at the end of the day, if we are unhealthy, everything else starts to break down from there. And it kind of led in this conversation that you and I have had a lot about how are we sending our people home? When we lead, how are our people experiencing the things we do, our leadership, our organization, our impact? Are they experiencing in a way that we're sending them home tired, but man, that was an impactful day. We did good.
Right.
Are we sending them home just as a burned out, angry,
not wanting to come
scared?
back the next day, avoiding it at all costs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been there, right? We've had those bosses. I mean, I know I've had that boss. I know I've been that boss, that my people were not going home healthy. And a lot of that came down to the fact that I wasn't showing up healthy.
Yeah, and that's not to say, like, yesterday where we did a lot, and at the end of the day, I was tired. I was ready to be
exhausted.
Done. That still happens. That doesn't mean that we're unhealthy. That means that we
Yes.
did what we did was intentional.
Yeah.
And we paced ourselves to where it was okay to have some days that are heavier loads. Yeah. But then at the end, we're able to disconnect, take our time to rest, and be ready for the next day.
Yeah.
And in that pace and that ability to, like, not be completely just burnt out and hate the idea of going back the next day is kind of a beautiful thing. Like, it's really cool to be able to have that.
Well, and it's funny because I experienced the same thing. I was telling Danny just now, we had 2 days in a row where we were focused, we were calendared out, we knew exactly what we were doing, we knew what we had to accomplish, and it was a lot. I was done when those days were over.
Yeah.
But not in a, why am I even doing this way? Because what was funny is I was exhausted, but I was fired up. I was like, man, look at the things that we're pushing forward. Look at the impact we're having. I even sent you a message. I'm like, man, yesterday was great. It was exhausting, but it was great.
I am tired, but I feel good about
Yes.
it. I feel like I put in a good run and like it was worth it.
And that's how we want to send our people home. But so much of that has to do with how we show up in the first place. And that's where this quote of lead yourself well because your team is desperate for you to lead them well. It's so true. Like, we desperately want our leaders to be healthy. We want them to inspire us. We want them to give us hope. We want them to give us vision. Almost none of those things are possible when we're not healthy.
Yeah, well, the cool thing about these past couple of days, us working, is that it was the same idea of, like, you sending that text message to me saying, we did a good job. Like, good job for getting what you got done, because it's for a good reason. We are going to have a good impact for it. It's worth it. What we're doing matters. And an unhealthy version of you is not sending that text message.
That's fair. And we have enough of those days stack up. You lose sight of the fact that it matters. I'm not communicating that it matters. And that's how we kind of go down that road. And so I think we really, again, the core of this is just that our leadership health matters so much because how we send our people home matters. Because if I don't do this well and I send you home, I'm now sending you home in a negative way as a mother, as a wife. And so then your family suffers because I don't know how to lead well.
Right.
And now you think about organizations that have hundreds of people or thousands of people in them. If the leaders at any level are showing up as unhealthy, they are sending home, I guess, they're sending home burned out, tired, angry, fearful mothers and fathers and husbands and wives. And that's something to really consider.
Yeah, and
it's
that's that
weight.
we're going home, so we're going to separate this, and this is not all the same. It's all connected.
Yes.
Everything we're messy human beings who have connected lives that all matter.
Yeah.
And sometimes those things are going to flow into each other.
Yep.
And if we're showing up as a healthy version of ourselves,
Yeah.
then that transition and that flow is easier. It's more easy to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So leaders out there, I want you to really stop and cognizantly think about the fact that you have taken on this responsibility. And it is not just to get a certain amount of things done or sell a certain amount of whatever in your organization. Like, it is to send your people home excited, to send them home healthy. Every bit of that is going to come down to how you show up. That is what we signed up for. The Neverending Storms. How are we going to send our people home fired up despite that? That's our jobs. And that all will come down to how we lead ourselves. They're desperate for that. I don't think that's an understatement at all.
No, I think that's very true.
All right, great conversation. Thank you for putting all this together. Thank you for doing this. If people want to send questions, they want to send quotes that are maybe not by me, where do they send that to?
lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. If you want to tell us that we said Publilius wrong, please don't email us.
Sure.
If you want to find us on the socials, where do they find us with all the content we're putting out?
@ForwardPartner.
@ForwardPartner. All right. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.
Danny, thank you for producing Wilco Workspaces. Thank you for the partnership. Coffee and Crisp, thank you for the wonderful coffee.
Yeah.
We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.